Let's bring in former acting ICE director and former federal prosecutor Jonathan Fahey to dig into all this. Jonathan, welcome.
Thank you.
So what's your reaction to that audio that we just heard and then her explanation of it?
It's pretty chilling, and watching this sort of Maryland man narrative unfold in a very unfavorable way for him is also pretty interesting. But even her statement walking it back, she certainly didn't deny that it happened. It was just like, we are in a bad place, and sort of excusing the behavior and also oddly blaming it on ICE at the time, too. So everything about this is really unfolding in a way that one thing that I think everyone should agree on, this person should never be a Maryland man again. He should be deported, and if somehow he's brought back, they should reopen the case and deport him again, because this is, he's a threat to the community and to public safety.
I want to play a clip for you from Maryland Senator Chris Van Hollen, who of course went to go visit Abrego Garcia. Let's play it and I'll get you to react.
I have repeatedly said that we're not vouching for Kilmar Abrego Garcia. We are vouching for his constitutional rights, because if you trample over his constitutional rights, you threaten them for every American and everybody who resides in America.
Jonathan, do you think some on the left regret their support for the so-called Maryland man?
Yes, I do, and I think Senator Van Hollen's statement is not what he was saying initially. He was talking about this person being a constituent, bringing him home. He didn't want to ask about his MS-13 membership when he was down there in El Salvador. So now they're really trying to change the narrative as that they're just standing up for due process. But ultimately, we know what they were saying before, that this was a family man, he was Maryland man, and he deserved to come back to Maryland. And so the narrative is changing, trying to fit the circumstances as they unfold badly, but ultimately, anywhere you slice it, he's not going to return to Maryland one way or another. Either he'll stay in El Salvador or come back and be redeported.
Jonathan, another big story we're watching this weekend, a federal judge is blocking the Trump administration from using the Alien Enemies Act to deport Venezuelans. President Trump responding via Truth Social this morning. Can it be so that judges are not allowing the USA to deport criminals, including murderers, out of our country and back to where they came from? If so, if this is so, our country as we know it is finished. Americans will have to get used to a very different crime-filled life. This is not what our founders had in mind. Where does this go from here?
Well, this is very interesting because, as you remember, the Supreme Court about a month ago sort of tacitly endorsed the using of the Alien Enemies Act by making rulings on procedures that must be filed. So the implication is they think it's appropriate. So ultimately, the Trump administration will appeal this judge's ruling. It'll be to the Fifth Circuit, and maybe they'll try to get in front of the Supreme Court because it has nationwide impact. But I think one of the problems with the judge's ruling, again, he's stepping into the shoes of the executive branch to make the decisions involving foreign policy, what an alien enemy is, and things like that that are exclusively the province of the executive branch. So ultimately, the Trump administration will win here. And Donald Trump, what he's doing, and it totally makes sense, is trying to remove dangerous people efficiently, which is in fact not just a political issue, but it's his job. And just because Mayorkas and Biden were derelict in their duty, abdicated the responsibility, doesn't mean he should follow suit. And he has this responsibility, and he's carrying it out.
Meanwhile, the Wisconsin Supreme Court suspended Judge Hannah Dugan earlier this week. She was arrested last Friday for allegedly obstructing federal authorities from detaining an undocumented immigrant in her courtroom by letting him out the back door. So what happens now?
Right now, she's been charged by criminal complaint. The next step will be an indictment. And I think what could get worse for her, she could also be indicted with other charges or another charge of alien harboring, because what she was doing was shielding somebody she knew was an illegal alien from being detected or arrested by ICE. So things could get worse for her. It would make sense for her to be trying to work something out. But sort of the big picture is here, the only reason we're having these issues in the courthouses is because of these sanctuary cities unwilling to follow ICE detainers. If this person had been detained in a jail and they're willing to follow the detainer after his case, none of this would have happened. So a lot of it, if the sanctuary cities will change their policies, we won't have future incidences. But this judge put her political agenda ahead of her role as a judge, and also put the safety of her citizens at risk, because this person was on trial for assault charges, and she was more than willing to put him out in the community rather than have him go into ICE custody and be deported.
Jonathan Fahey, grateful for your time and your analysis today. Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on YouTube. It's the best way to get our latest interviews and highlights. And click to subscribe to the Will Kane podcast for full episodes right now.